Hey everyone, and welcome to the Only Worthy Books YouTube channel. This week's book, Behave, The Biology of Humans at Our Best and Worst by Robert Sapolsky. Ever wonder why we do the things we do, from our best acts of altruism to our most horrific moments of violence? Today we're diving deep into Robert Sapolsky's masterpiece, Behave, The Biology of Humans at Our Best and Worst. Sapolsky, a neurobiologist and primatologist, takes us on an epic journey through the science of human behavior. This isn't just about psychology or sociology, it's about understanding the intricate interplay of our brains, hormones, genes, and environment. Behave challenges us to think differently, ditching simple explanations and embracing the messy complexity of what makes us human. Get ready to have your assumptions challenged. Let's get started. Sapolsky kicks things off by emphasizing that to understand any behavior, you can't look at just one thing. It's never just genes or just upbringing or just the situation. It's always a combination. He introduces the core idea of the book, unpacking the layers of influence that lead to a specific action. He urges us to avoid simple categorization and instead embrace an integrated approach, thinking about the brain, hormones, environment, and evolutionary history all at once. Think of it like peeling an onion. Each layer reveals a deeper understanding, but you need to consider them all to grasp the whole picture. What happens in the brain right before a behavior occurs? This chapter dives into the world of neurons, neurotransmitters, and brain circuits. Sapolsky explains how different brain regions like the amygdala for fear and aggression, and the prefrontal cortex for decision-making, interact in that crucial 1 second. It's all about the electrical and chemical signals firing, influencing our immediate reactions. Imagine a split-second decision. This chapter explains the complex biological processes happening behind the scenes. Now, let's zoom out a bit. What sensory stimuli triggered the brain activity in that 1 second? This chapter explores the impact of our immediate environment. A threatening gesture, a comforting touch, a sudden loud noise. These sensory inputs can dramatically shape our behavior. Sapolsky discusses how our brains constantly process and interpret these cues, often subconsciously, leading to rapid responses. It's about how our senses act as triggers, setting off a cascade of neurological events. Time to bring in the hormones. This chapter examines how hormones like testosterone, cortisol, and oxytocin influence our behavior over longer periods. These chemical messengers can alter our sensitivity to sensory stimuli, making us more or less likely to react in certain ways. For example, chronic stress, which means high cortisol, can impair our judgment, while a surge of oxytocin can promote bonding and trust. Hormones set the stage for our reactions. What about longer-term environmental factors? This chapter explores how things like stress, diet, and social interactions can actually change the structure and function of our brains. Sapolsky explains the concept of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and rewire itself in response to experience. Early life experiences in particular can have a profound impact on our behavior later in life. This is where nurture starts to shape nature. Adolescence. A time of impulsivity, risk-taking, and emotional intensity. Sapolsky explains why teenagers often behave the way they do. Their frontal cortex, responsible for rational decision-making, is still under construction. Hormonal changes, coupled with this unfinished brain development, create a perfect storm for unpredictable behavior. It's not just teen angst, there's a biological explanation. Even before we're born, our environment is shaping us. This chapter delves into the impact of the prenatal environment on brain development and behavior. Factors like maternal stress, nutrition, and exposure to toxins can have lasting effects on our temperament, stress response, and even our susceptibility to certain diseases. The womb is where our story truly begins. Genes, GAPS 1S. This chapter explores the role of genetics in behavior, but with a crucial caveat: genes don't operate in a vacuum. Sapolsky emphasizes that genes are not destiny. They interact with the environment in complex ways, influencing our predispositions but not dictating our fate. He discusses concepts like epigenetics, where environmental factors can actually alter gene expression. It's a dynamic interplay between nature and nurture. Now we're going way back to our evolutionary past. This chapter examines how natural selection has shaped our brains and behaviors over generations. Sapolsky discusses how certain traits, like cooperation, aggression, and social hierarchy, may have evolved to enhance our survival and reproduction. Understanding our evolutionary history provides valuable context for understanding our current behavior. Diving deeper into evolution, Sapolsky looks at how cultural evolution interacts with our biological predispositions. He emphasizes that culture isn't just something separate from biology, it's intertwined. Cultural norms, beliefs, and practices can shape our behavior as powerfully as our genes. One of the most troubling aspects of human behavior is our tendency to divide the world into us and them. This chapter explores the biological roots of prejudice, tribalism, and xenophobia. Sapolsky discusses how our brains are wired to quickly categorize people, often based on superficial characteristics. This can lead to bias, discrimination, and even violence. Hierarchies are a common feature of human societies. This chapter examines the biological and social factors that contribute to the formation and maintenance of these power structures. Sapolsky explores the dynamics of obedience, conformity, and resistance, drawing on classic experiments like the Milgram experiment. He shows how easily we can be influenced by authority. Where does our sense of morality come from? This chapter delves into the complex interplay of biology, culture, and reason in shaping our moral compass. Sapolsky discusses how our brains are wired for empathy, fairness, and cooperation, but also for self-interest and competition. Morality is a constant balancing act. Empathy is a crucial ingredient for social connection and cooperation. This chapter explores the neuroscience of empathy, examining how we understand and share the feelings of others. Sapolsky discusses the role of mirror neurons, which fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing that action. Empathy bridges the gap between individuals. Language shapes how we think, and certain metaphors can be particularly dangerous. This chapter examines how metaphors related to purity, disgust, and dehumanization can fuel violence and prejudice. Sapolsky argues that we need to be aware of the power of language and challenge metaphors that promote division and hatred. This chapter tackles some tough questions about free will and moral responsibility. If our behavior is influenced by so many biological factors, can we truly be held accountable for our actions? Sapolsky explores the implications of neuroscience for the criminal justice system, arguing for a more nuanced and compassionate approach. Ultimately, Behave is a book about the possibilities for both violence and peace. This chapter examines the factors that contribute to both conflict and cooperation on a large scale. Sapolsky emphasizes that while we have the capacity for great cruelty, we also have the capacity for great compassion and altruism. The choice is ours. Behave is a dense and complex book, but its message is ultimately hopeful. By understanding the biology of our behavior, we can work towards creating a more just and peaceful world. What did you think of Sapolsky's ideas? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more worthy book summaries and science-based insights. Thanks for watching.